Greetings, everyone. It is I, of course, your one and only multi-potentialite, neurodivergent host,
the Cosmic Jedi. Welcome back to my channel.
We have some movie news to discuss. We're gonna breeze through some of them because they're like neither here nor there, and then some I want to settle in some of the other news just so we can take in the essence of the news. Like I want to relish in the downfall of some of the topics we're going to talk about. So first of all, let's start off with Mr. Blade, Mahershala Ali. Mahershala Ali will reportedly appear as Blade in Avengers Secret Wars. I don't know. Oh, this is news. I thought this was a rumor. So this is news. At this point, I'm really done waiting for Blade.
You serious?
At this point, I'm so done waiting for Blade. If they really wanted to do this thing, they could have done it already. And because Marvel's been shaky since, for my Marvel movie going experience, they've been shaky since WandaVision. Ever since WandaVision, everything else after that has just been bland, just being dull for me. They were peak for me with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And after that, bland.
Damn.
And the only one, maybe one or two things, or should I say the only one thing I've enjoyed thoroughly, consistently, or I'll say two things, will be the Punisher series and Daredevil.
You ain't lying.
Maybe because I'm not really sitting down to think about it properly. There are other things, out there, but they're not even coming to mind straight away.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the movie going experience, expanding the storyline, expanding the lore, bringing in new characters that mean something, that are useful, zilch. Absolutely zilch. It's been dull for me, for my movie going experience. Your mileage may vary.
That's right.
So I don't even know what they have in store for him. And because of how they've been doing things from Thunderbolts or Thunder, whatever they're called, New Avengers, the way they took care of that, I don't feel the current writing team or their vision, or Marvel's current vision, I don't feel it's strong enough or powerful enough to do Mahershala Ali justice the same way they did Chadwick Boseman, the first Black Panther movie. Not the second one. We know what happened with his passing, may he so rest in peace, but the first one. And then, I know Taika Waititi did Thor Love and Thunder, and that was trash, but Ragnarok was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I don't know what they intend to do with Mahershala Ali, but I don't feel it's going to be strong, powerful, and a lot of people like myself will slightly compare it to, what's his name again? Wesley Snipes' version of Blade. I'll slightly compare it. And I know people are going to say, well, it's going to be in the Marvel universe, so a lot of things will change, the humor, the tone, and whatnot. I know Marvel has this thing with humor sometimes, or most of the times. But the same way they got Ryan Coogler to do a solid treatment for Black Panther, and his story, his world was unique, but it still had the Marvel finish to it. You could still enjoy it as a Marvel addition or a story into the Marvel universe, but a standalone story nonetheless. Meaning a newcomer could, walk into the archive of Marvel, and because they want to see Black Panther, for example, they want to see more brown melanated characters be the lead characters, they can easily walk into the archive and be like, you know what? All these movies are cool. Even Sam Wilson as Captain America is cool, but I want to see this Black Panther movie and still enjoy it as a standalone movie while still getting the sense of the Marvel universe and how the Marvel, Marvel story thread or threads work. But with Mahershala Ali and with the way they've been doing things, I really like Mahershala Ali as an actor, and I don't think they're going to. I think I'm going to use this word. Do it justice is one thing, but respect him is what I'm trying to say. I don't think they're going to respect him enough to let him do his thing, because this is going to be his version of Blade, and I don't see him disrespecting Wesley Snipes. I don't see them trying to say, for example, try to be a little more comedic, or laugh more, or smirk more, or smile more. I don't see him, agreeing with that per se. He probably take it as advice, but again, this is the character you're bringing me into play. I've checked out the comics. I've seen different iterations of him, whether it's through cutscenes from different games. as much as he can take in from the comics, from different iterations, you're still going to refer to Mr. Wesley Snipes. So yeah, one last time, I have zero desire, zero anticipation, zero joy, zero hope for Marvel to deliver properly on doing Mahershala Ali justice and respecting him and doing a proper Blade story. I don't even know if I want Wesley Snipes back to do some Elseworld thing. I don't know, because when Wesley did his thing for Blade, that was such a solid movie, and I don't even know if Marvel's ready for a proper rated R segment of their universe. I think they should do that. Mm-hmm. I think they should do that. But anyway, like I said, we don't want to rest too long on certain news topics. So on to the next one, shall we? This one is absolutely hilarious. And as I'm going through these news topics, you let me know in the comments as well which one you're more excited for, which one you don't care for. Like this one, I'm surprised this is news, another rumor. I could care less for this one. Who the hell wants to see the Eternals?
No! God, please, no!
No offense to the actors and to the cast. These days, I'm thankful that I'm wiser to know the difference between crappy acting and crappy material.
That's right.
And Marvel's intention, whether it's Kevin Feige or Feige and other people, they seem to just have this repeated intention to just do stuff. And even though we complain and express our dismay, they just keep on pushing through. They might cancel one or two things behind closed doors or put the thing on hold and pause. Like the Blade movie has been delayed so many times. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose. So people like myself will be like, you know what? I don't want it anymore. It's okay. I'm not hungry for your fake panadiam. Your GMO panadiam. I don't want. And maybe that's the intention. Who knows? I don't care. The Eternals is not what we're looking forward to. Maybe a small group of people have asked, they've signed petitions and they've reached out to Marvel. Can you bring these guys back? You know, or maybe they're just going to throw him in Secret Wars as a final send-off, the same way they're going to do with the OG X-Men cast members. If that's the case, then cool. I have no qualms, no complaints, but at least do them justice in that movie, because the Eternals movie was poorly written. The only one thing that I enjoyed thoroughly in that movie is Makari. I think it's Makari or Akari, the speedster lady. The way they did her flash, her running fast thing, magnificent. Absolutely magnificent.
You ain't lying.
It's something DC should take notes from, especially moving forward to do a Flash movie. They need to take notes from, is it Makari or Akari? The way they did her animation scenes, the way they made her run, everything they did with her Speed Force thing or her speedster thing or fast thing, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, there were elements in that movie that could have worked if they really sat down and thought thoroughly and properly of what they wanted to do or their intention for these characters. You can't just throw in new characters like this and then you're saying they came from an ancient time and people are going to start asking questions. Where were they when Thanos attacked? Where were they when Loki attacked? You know? So you need to really think of how you want to weave in your characters if you want to say they've been around for a long time. Now, the giant eternal or giant celestial creatures being birthed from the core of every planet in the solar system, to me, that is whack. Even if that's the storyline in the previous comics or in all the comic runs, cool. But in real world, to then say there's a eternal or celestial, there's a celestial coming from the Earth's core or wherever it was buried, and her hand or its hand is just stuck. There's so many things that's so wrong with that. What happens to the gravity of the planet? What happens to the Earth's rotation? Does that affect? What happens to the electromagnetic field? Because this thing is alive, right? This thing has its own frequency, its own molecular composition. So surely that affects the sea life. Surely that affects the atmosphere. Surely that affects the air. Surely that affects the whole Earth's energetic system. Surely that does something to the planet. Surely. But they didn't think through the whole thing properly and say, okay, long term, what does that do? Because that's a lot of I's to dot and a lot of T's to cross. A lot. And you don't have to write that story either. There are other ways to introduce these characters without having to write a very dull, incompetent, stupid story. Anyway. Masters of the Universe. tracking to become one of the biggest flops of all time.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is a late news. I don't know what it is now currently with this new month, but I think this was in June. Since we're in July, maybe the numbers have changed. But at the time of when I screenshotted this image, it's saying the film has only earned 82 million on a budget of 200 million.
Damn.
Movie was trash, and I look forward to doing what do you call it, a watch along / commentary on my Patreon. I know I don't push my Patreon a lot on this page because I've noticed YouTube be playing games. YouTube be playing games, man. Sit down here and record a 20-minute video, 30-minute video. You actually giving a brother 14 views. What? It's all gravy. It's your platform. Lock and load it. You know, do what you want to do. So I'm going to start putting a lot of energy into my Patreon accounts where I can just fully express myself without any hindrance and copyright this and copyright that. So if you feel you want to support a brother over on my Patreon, come join me. We can have a lot of fun. Let me hear, yeah! I'm going to start doing some lives as well, like live watch reactions / commentary. But that's in the future pipeline. For now, I want to make sure I get more content up there, from movies to TV shows. I'm still editing X-Men, for example, 97 season 2, and Paradise and It, Welcome to Derry. But I want to do a proper commentary for this one. It's going to be my commentary / review, because I recorded a review and I was so pissed, but there was no visual reference to go off of. So now that it's out on what do you call it, on digital, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun, because I did a visual breakdown with different shots and scenes way back when The Flash came out, and I enjoyed doing that, because it's one thing to come on here and say, oh, here's my review for this movie, it was this, it was that, and give you, not necessarily play for play, but the best that I can with what I can recollect. But when I'm showing you, for me, I prefer to show people why I dislike a scene, dialogue, set piece, or a decision a character has made. It's easy to show people so they can see how my brain operates and how I've taken in the thing. I'm like, that doesn't sound right, especially based on the world the show or the movie has given us. So yeah, look out for that in the future. I'm looking forward to doing it. And I've been thinking to myself, saying, yo, some movies are like an hour and a half, 2 hours and a half these days. So to do a watch along / commentary might be like 3 hours in total, or up to 4 hours, depending on how long the movie is and how many things I want to call out that irritate me. But anyway, I'm glad to see this. And no offense to the cast members, no offense to the makeup department, sound, engineering, visual, special effects and everything else. I feel if you piss off your audience and expect to make money with a crappy movie and a crappy story, it's on you. So that's why I said I'm happy to see this. I don't want to sound like a mean douchebag, but I'm happy to see that they're not making money, because you got to learn one way or the other. You have to learn one way or the other. And I would even say this movie is not meant for adults, it's meant for children. I don't feel I'll take my child to watch this, because there's so many incompetent things in a movie. I don't want that to dumb down my child. No way. No way. Now this one, at first I thought it was a rumor. I love Jim Carrey. He was cool with Cable Guy. I'm trying to remember how many movies he's played where he's the villain. And the only two that come to mind is The Cable Guy and Grinch. And even Grinch, is like an anti-hero, not fully bad guy, the way he played it anyway. But this one, because I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I really like Freddy Krueger's character, just that whole twist on his origin story. But for Jim to play Freddy as a horror movie,
What?
doesn't make sense to me. Out of all the actors in the world you could pull from, like the actor who played Rorschach in Watchmen, he was good as Freddy. Now, I don't know what actor I would go for right now. Maybe I'll do another separate video and talk about this particular topic alone, or do a live and ask you guys which actor you feel would be good to play the role. Maybe you don't mind Jim Carrey playing. Maybe you already visualized Jim Carrey playing it before this news came out, but this was never a thing in my mind, even as a child or a teenager, where I randomly thought one day, you know what? Jim Carrey, Freddy Krueger. It just makes sense. No, siree, Bob. This is a bad choice. Bad. Because if you put it out in the ether, all these people who are so fond of making incompetent movies, they might draw on whatever entity allows Hollywood to make crap movies and make this a thing. Mm-hmm. Out of all the classic 80s horror movies, horror movie villains like Freddy, Mike Myers, the Mask, and then Jason Voorhees. And there's a full Chucky. There's one more somewhere. I think I'm thinking of Pinhead, right? Hellraiser. He's the one I've enjoyed the most. You know, the dream power, killing people in your, that one I find fascinating. There's something fun and scary about that. Jason and Michael, those guys never seem to die, so it's boring and they just feel like bullies to me. Yeah, you could argue that Freddy Krueger is a bully as well, bullying people in your sleep. Yeah, but his origin story adds to it. But you can keep that in a tight-knit story, part 1, 2, and 3, or you could do it as a serious long horror, or you could do it as a horror TV series. Just like Pennywise. Pennywise, same thing. You could argue that he's just a space bully. True. But out of the two space bullies, for example, like Pennywise or Predator, the Yautja, I prefer to enjoy the series, or I prefer to watch Pennywise, because at least there's something in there where there's a chance you can beat or defeat this 5th dimension or 6th dimensional entity or 9th dimensional entity. And the people kicking its ass outside of the adults are children. So there's something about that. But a Yautja coming to Earth, and you've got super technology, you got a laser cannon, you can see infrared, infrablue, infragreen, eye for rad, and it's too much. It's just too much. And yeah, freaking Pennywise is OP as well. But, you know, there's a balance. There's something about it that I prefer to watch that over Predator series, monster chasing bunny rabbits. That's how I see it. Your space advanced alien. Your physique is already, if you throw a punch to one guy, it's game over. You're going to crack a skull just with one blow. Homie can rip out your spine clean. From your rib cage and everything clean with your skull intact. Come on, that's too much. You don't even need tech to do that too much. So out of all those 80s, 90s horror villains, I like him more. There's something about him that I'm drawn to compared to Jason Voorhees and Mike Myers. They get stabbed. I've not seen all the Mike Myers Halloween movies, but has his head ever been chopped off from his body and then locked away and then burnt? Has anyone ever dismembered his head from his body? Just his head, his arms, and then let's see how real you guys want to get. But you can't do that because you want the franchise to keep going, and after a while it gets dull and boring. This one I don't mind in terms of Freddy Krueger as a reoccurring character, again because of the dreamscape thing. But when it comes to the actor you're choosing to play the character, he has to be very, very menacing. And I've seen Cable Guy and Grinch. Those are the only two movies that come to mind where Jim has played the bad guy. But Freddy is not a bad. This is a dark story. It's a very, very dark story. It's gruesome. I can't unsee The Mask. I can't unsee Cable Guy. I can't unsee the Grinch and the other one. What's the other one he did? Dumb and Dumber. I feel if you're gonna do Freddy Krueger, you have to do him justice by casting the appropriate actor to play a very menacing role. A Mr. Terrific series is in the works. I don't know how I feel about this one.
But why?
For me, he was a standout in Superman. The same way they wanted Lobo to be the standout in Supergirl, he wasn't. Compared to Mr. Terrific, Lobo was not a standout at all. If you remove that guy from that movie, neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Whereas that is a particular energy that this actor brings to Mr. Terrific, that he was a quick standout in that Superman movie. And that shows you how numb I felt towards Corn Sweat Superman. Whereas if you had, done him very, very well, it'd be like, you know what? I want to see both of them on screen again. I want to see them on ongoing missions, space missions. I want to see them working together again. Like freaking Lethal Weapon, or Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in Rush Hour. But because Corn Sweat was playing such a trashy, crappy Superman, for my liking, your mileage may vary, he stood out so much. And that's saying something as to how they wrote Corn Sweat Superman. Not saying that Mr. Terrific wasn't written well. There's a coolness to him. And even though some people would argue he's a little cocky and whatnot, there's still a coolness to him. I want to see more of him movie-wise. Now, his own TV show, I don't know. If it's James Gunn in charge, this guy, I've not even seen the second season of Peacemaker. So, you know what? After I've said that, I'd rather sit down and see what they intend to do with this one than watch Peacemaker.
Yes.
I'm open to seeing what they have in store. As long as it's not stupid,
Yes.
it's competent,
Yes.
it's challenging,
Yes.
it showcases his intelligence, you know, some humor here and there, and his strength, his abilities, you know, show a little weakness, show him growing, improving himself, improving his technology, and so on and so forth. But no stereotypes, man. No stereotypes. Because you people can't help yourselves. You cannot. We have another news about Supergirl has made $100 million worldwide, but still needs to make 450 to be profitable.
Damn!
Do you think they're going to make that 450?
Bullshit.
I don't even know what you guys spent all that money on. The aliens, they weren't featured, long enough. We didn't see. Some of them are not memorable, except the one that was pooping nuggets, and then the one that was looking like Jabba the Hutt that she ended up, she ended up under his booty.
This is just a moment.
Oh, sweet Gaia. If someone sat me down and said, oh, this is where we spent, all the money on, I can't even see it. Before you show me the rap sheet, looking at the movie, I can't see it. But this movie doesn't feel like there was a lot of money. I'm not saying it's cheap, but it doesn't feel like you 450 million?
$50 million.
So it's tracking to earn less than Morbius and the Marvels, and those two movies are trash.
Damn. You ain't lying.
Earlier on, I was talking about what Marvel has been spewing out ever since WandaVision. This is one of them. Although I did like the What If animated series. I forgot to add that because I was saying I like the Daredevil and Punisher series, and then now I'm going to add the What If series as well. Some episodes. Season 2, I think season 2 was good. Well, that's me done, peeps. I don't want this video to turn to a 30-minute, or a 40-minute long video. So let me know which of these news topics you are excited about and which one you don't care about. Yeah. I've, of course, been your one and only multi-potentialite, neurodivergent host,
The Cosmic Jedi signing out. Thank you for watching.